clients will say, look, I've got all of these different tools. How do I know which one's right? I don't have time.
Hey there, welcome back to the Build with BBB podcast. I'm your host, Casey Farmer, here with Ryan Halloran of Red Star Consulting. Ryan, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.
And I think our viewers probably don't know you, so let's learn all about you, Red Star Consulting, and what you do.
Wonderful. So, as you said, my name is Ryan Halloran. I'm the founder and CEO of Red Star Consulting. We are a technology and operations organization that focuses specifically on small businesses and trying to work with them to help them find the best ways to be able to generate and drive revenue not only for their business but also for the opportunities with their clients to improve and really drive that sort of technology and operations focus into the community.
So for anybody who heard that kind of like overview spiel, what I understand it to be when we really first met in person today, even though we've known each other for some time, you do a lot of different things. It's really not just one or the other. You've got some experience in radio, and so you're excited to be here today, and you've worked at what we call corporate America. So today we're going to be talking about different tools for small businesses and how to evaluate whether that's worth it, not worth it. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure, absolutely. So really the foundational aspects that we work with when it comes to our clientele is trying to sort of steer them away from just the tool and the tooling for their business and more into what is your operation and how does your business work, and helping them make good decisions so that they are not reliant completely on the technology to really run their business. And this is why this is one of my favorite topics. Is so many of the customers that we work with, the clientele that we have, they dive down this rabbit hole really quickly into technology, and I need a tool, and I saw this in a commercial and this is amazing. And the first question that will always come out of my mouth is, great, what does it do for you? And they will start to stutter over their own words. They will not be able to answer the question. And I will very quickly say, okay, let's talk about what it is you're really looking to accomplish for your business. Tools are great. We all have tools every single day, right? We have tools in our kitchen. We have tools in our car. We have phones and computers. But those are tools to help us do other things, accomplish other goals. We use those tools because they make things easier, but we wouldn't be using those tools if it wasn't for the job that we're trying to accomplish. So until you understand what it is, the job that you're trying to accomplish, it's really hard to pick a tool. Why would you bring a sledgehammer to a concert, a concert with violins and orchestra and things? Those two things don't go together. Wrong tools. Understand where you're getting to first, then choose your tools. That makes sense?
It does. So what criteria should a small business use to evaluate, where do I even start? What should I even start looking at? What's the first step?
So first step is always has to be looking at your own business first. What are the pain points that I'm having? Where is it that I'm not spending enough time in the relationships with my customers? Or where am I spending too much time sitting behind a computer and not out doing things that actually have positive impact to my total revenue, my total sales? What is my sales pipeline? Those types of things. Looking internally to your business and saying, where are my pain points? And being willing and honest enough with yourself as a business owner or someone who participates in a business. Because let's be fair, there's lots of people who don't like to look at the dirty laundry in the back room of their business. Really taking an honest look at where those pain points are. Then once you look at those pain points, starting to decide, all right, I've got 3, maybe 4 areas that I need to work on. Genuinely, they're impacting my customers. They're impacting my ability to be productive, whatever that negative thing is, and try to work through how do I try to resolve those things. And we're not even to the tools yet. Now we're just talking about, operationally speaking, how do I want to resolve those problems? So you go from pain point to how do I actually want to fix that problem? Is it even something that requires a tool, or is it something with people? Is it something that requires dollars? Is it something that just requires time and trying to figure out what the right direction is for those things?
So let's say I'm a small business owner and I'm even overwhelmed trying to figure out what pain points I have, and I call you. How do you maybe guide a small business through looking at that?
It's an excellent question. And thanks for stealing my business model. So really, the end game of this is the concept of walking through your day to day, right? A lot of people will say, "We'll focus on your balance sheet, right? What's my P&L?" And start to look at, the dollars and cents tell a lot of stories, but they don't necessarily tell the whole story. I usually will instruct organizations or business leaders, business owners to look at two different things. One, where are you spending the most time on a day-to-day basis? Are you spending time in the places that give you the most return into the valuation of your business? Whether that is with your people, with your clients, is it creating product, whatever that is, right? That's part one. Part two is, what about your clients? Talk to your clients. What are the problems that they see that you have? Sometimes having that external perspective on your organization is huge. It shows two sides. One, that you have a desire to understand what your organization looks like to the people on the outside, but it also has the perspective of you as a client. I value your opinion. I want to hear what you have to say about what I'm doing. And you'd be amazed how many clients, when they engage their clientele, get great information back from the people that they're servicing. Hey, just for an example, the checkout process is very slow, or what you're providing to me in this particular product is sort of substandard. It used to be better and now it's substandard. I don't feel like I get enough contact or information from you in order for me to be best at what I do. So a lot of times that's where you'll find those pain points too. So usually when I first engage a client, it's those two sides. It's looking at yourself and looking at where the pain points are that you feel, but then also engaging your clients at the same time.
So where I take that info is then, last year at the end of 2023 might have been a time that small businesses were sending out surveys or looking for information from their clients. So this is a great time to look at that and implement it.
Yes,
would you agree?
Absolutely it is.
Yeah.
So I guess the question I would ask though is like, when you hear those surveys, right? What are people doing with the information that's there? So those surveys that come back, you have to really take those and take them with a gigantic grain of salt, right? There's that standard bell curve. You throw away the top 5 and the bottom 5%, and then you start to look at the trends inside of that survey information. And what does it really tell you? And so many people tend to get wrapped up in the information or the huge positives or the huge negatives that come in those surveys. And it sort of diverts them from what the critical issues are. Look for the patterns in that data. Look for the information where you're seeing people saying the same thing over and over again, or where what you're seeing in those surveys matches what you feel like is one of those pain points we were talking about a moment ago. And now you sort of have data to back up the direction that you should be taking with your business.
So I've had a meeting internally. We've kind of looked at the data. We figured out here are the top 3 pain points of my business. Then I go on a little Google search and I find that there are 1,000 tools that solve said problem that I'm facing in my business. What do you do from there?
You just get all of them.
You do all of them.
Just all of them.
Sign up for every subscription.
Every single one of them. Doesn't matter. You can just try all of them. So, joking aside, so you're absolutely correct. The next place that we go all the time, clients will say, "Look, I've got all of these different tools. How do I know which one's right? I don't have time to go through all of these different things. I'm running a business. I'm not running a technology firm." Absolutely correct. So you have a couple of options. First thing is, remember the problem. Always start with your why. Remember the problem. Then when you look at the tools, make sure that you understand, what does that tool actually do? My dad worked for IBM for 40 years, over 40 years. and he'll probably get mad at me if he finds out that I shared this with him. But when I graduated from college, which seems like 7 years ago, he imparted several pieces of advice. He was a programmer, and so what he would say to me all the time is, Ryan, I can make a computer do anything, but if you don't tell me what you want it to do, I can't make it do anything. And so for me, it always spurs the thought of, yes, there are tools, but what is that tool actually going to do for you? So you have to go a layer deeper. If you go to a website for any tool, they're going to tell you that it can colonize Mars. It can take you to Tahiti tomorrow if you're looking for it. They'll tell you it can solve every problem under the sun. My suggestion to my clients is, again, twofold. And usually there's more to it than just maybe those two. But the two primary areas are, do your research. There's plenty of places that you can go to look at, evaluate different tools that are out there in the marketplace. Place number one, go out to the web. Obviously, Google search. Find reviews where people are willing to give feedback about the different there. The second place, and this is where I go, right? I'm a small business owner too. I pick my own tools. Of all the places in the world, YouTube. You would be shocked how much is out there, and less from a review perspective, but more from a demonstration perspective, where people will actually take software that they have and they will demonstrate to you how they use it for specific situations. So you have an opportunity to see for yourself through these demonstrations how they map together. Here's my problem that I'm experiencing, and then here's a problem that someone else is experiencing that may not be exactly the same, but let's see how they decided to address it. And let's see if there's some, I hate to use this word, synergy to put those things together. So there's those opportunities that are there as well. Lastly, which this one is a little bit, a little bit harder to run with a little bit, but there are so many of these organizations, these software providers, that if you engage their sales organization, it's free to you as a small business owner. Ask them a variety of questions. Not just, hey, I have a problem with X, how would your software handle this? But then also ask for referenceable clients. Ask that business, that tool owner, I'd like to have a conversation with one of your clients that has a similar problem to mine, and I'd like to hear how they used your software to address that problem. And you'd be shocked how many of those sales organizations are more than happy to get you on the phone with someone else because it helps their case for, frankly, selling you the software and the solution that they have. So there's a variety of different places to go.
So in those conversations, let's say that you get to ask the person who's already using the software questions. Do you have recommendations on what a small business owner should ask that person using the software?
Be as direct as possible.
Don't beat around the bush.
No, do not. I mean, really, at the end of the day, how often do you get to speak with somebody who's also a business owner that probably is not going to be in the same space that you are, but is willing to give you information about how they tackled certain problems about their organization? Most people, especially in small business, they don't want to give away secrets. Don't say anything. I don't want to give away my competitive advantage. But in reality, a lot of these other organizations, they're willing to give that information up. Just like we as a consultancy, part of what I do is to take the learnings from other clients and apply them forward. Same concept here. These companies that you will call on, they will directly tell you, this is how it should do, this is how it should work, this is the problem that we were having, it saved us this much money, this much time, and they will be very direct with you. So be direct with them. Ask them those specific questions. Give them scenarios. Tell them the pain points that you're having, and let them try to give you some direction as well. Why not use as much of the resources at your fingertips as you can? There's a variety of different things that are there. And so before pulling the trigger, the proverbial trigger, on actually purchasing and implementing a solution, you need to be very clear as to what the return on that investment is. Everybody knows ROI, but it really is important. And it doesn't necessarily have to be dollars and cents, but it does need to make sense. And if you cannot reasonably, rationally articulate what that return is, really you shouldn't be considering that solution at all. You'd be shocked how many times I will tell business owners, go talk to your spouse, go talk to your employees, do a temperature check, do a reality check, see what they have to say. Explain to someone else your understanding of that tool and what it does and how it will benefit your business. And you'd be surprised how many times other people may be able to poke holes in it.
Do you often see that small business owners have an array of tools that they maybe are underutilizing or maybe don't need at all?
Every single day. It's the old expression, death by 1,000 paper cuts. I see leaking organizations that have dollars and cents going out the door every day, every month, every year on tools, subscriptions, other things they don't use, or they underutilize them to a point where having them really isn't necessary. So you need to be able to, again, go back to the why. Why did I purchase this tool? Let's be fair. I did this a week and a half ago. I looked at a subscription that I had to a particular software vendor who I won't talk about. They're absolutely fine. What they do, no problem.
We're not dragging anybody through the mud.
Not at all. They serve their purpose in the time that I needed them. And then all of a sudden, I'm seeing them pop up on my financials and I'm going, wait a minute. Wait. So we're not immune to it. All of us get tied up in the operation of our business. So make sure that you are regularly auditing. What do I have in my technology stack? What are the things that I have that I use? And what of it do I need to keep? What of it do I need to get rid of? And maybe there's something in there that needs to be adjusted. So many of these solutions have different levels of subscriptions, right? Talk about your Netflix or your Apple or whatever. You can get the basic, $5 a month, or here's the $9.99 a month, and then here's the $14. So a lot of these solutions have that. And that should also be something not that you're just considering as a part of an audit, but also as you're selecting the solution as well. Make sure that you're picking the right level of solution as you're going through that process of engaging with whatever that solution set is.
How do you, and I know we're going a little off track, but how do you decide what level of the solution, like should you just start baseline or do you start at the highest tier and work your way down? Do you have a solution for that or an idea for that?
So the rule of thumb, less is more. Now, let's be fair. How many people have gone and gotten their cable service or their satellite TV service and they sell you on you'll get 3 free months of the movie channels, but then it's on you to call up said provider and to cancel those things at the end of the 3 months. It's really hard to do. And usually it doesn't happen until they ding you at least once on your bills.
And you forget about it, and then you think, oh, I'll call and cancel it, and you're like, man, I don't really want to call and have to cancel. Like, I totally understand that.
So welcome to the same thing that happens with software for small business. And even I should qualify, it's not even necessarily just software, it's the solutions that are there as well. Always start basic. It is trust me, every business, every solution provider, they'll be more than happy to take more of your money. Every day. Oh, you want to upgrade from the $25 a month to the $50? You'll see just like that.
You're now our platinum tier.
Indeed, and they will gladly take your cash and off you go. If you want to downgrade, have fun hanging on with their technical support or their sales team for hours on end because they don't want to give up those dollars.
Or online platform where you're 10 clicks in and you're like, are you sure we'll give you 50% off for the next 6 months? Or yeah.
And the AI chatbots that are now on all the websites that promise you everything. And you're like, wait a minute, my name is not, Billy Bob. And what? Who am I talking? So yes, it's important, right, to start basic. And then as you start to see that there is additional need, then start to upgrade the software, the solution. It's the same thing too. You'll find a lot of these providers, a lot of these solution providers, they will also be based off of the number of users that you have using the software itself. A lot of them will start off with either 1 user or 2 users. And then as time goes on, depending upon the size of your business, you may need to add additional users to it. Again, a lot easier to add than subtract. So start basic, do the basics, move forward with the basics, and then upgrade as necessary.
And this is an opportunity for, you had mentioned earlier, evaluate those tools, software, processes, whatever it is, on maybe a quarterly basis. And maybe, next quarter, if you decide, I want to bump it up to the gold tier or whatever it is, maybe that's the opportunity to do it.
Read your business and where it's going. What's your pipeline? What does it look like? There are some organizations, retail organizations, they ramp up what? August, September, because they're trying to get ready for the end of the year rush. You may need to make those sort of modifications. And depending upon the software or the solution, a lot of times they'll be prepared for you as well. They'll know that you're going to be coming back for them. Hey, I need to bump this up because we're in a situation where we need to add on, additional labor for the end of the year, and then we're going to pull back off of that. Those software vendors, they know those things. They've seen those trends. So don't be afraid to sort of look out into the future and go, do I really need all of the bells and whistles today? Or can I use those for a little time and then back off of that when I no longer need it? So excellent point.
I want to go down this line, and I think this will tie nicely into our next point. I'm a brand new business owner, and I have just purchased 15 subscriptions to 15 different tools that I think are all worth it and I want to try out. And how do I go about implementing those into my business?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. You're going to have a couple of sleepless nights. You are probably going to lose some of your hair. Your kids will not see you for a few days. Really, at the end of the day, 15 different solutions. How do I phrase this nicely? Everything goes in building blocks. Life in general, when you stop and you think about life, happens in building blocks, one on top of another on top of another. To build a house, to build a building, you go one floor at a time. Yes, there are always going to be situations where you know that you're going to need multiple tools. You're going to need a website. You're going to need a CRM of some sort. You are going to need a financial program to help you with your dollars and cents. You are going to need task tracking or task management. And we're not going to go into, like I said, brands or specific tools, but you know that you're going to need those things. But foundationally, as a business owner, you can reconcile those things in your brain. You know that you're going to need those things. If you're going out and buying 10 or 15 additional tools on top of what you already have, really consider what that does to your business. So let's back this up and let's give a real life example. You're a business owner who does retail. Are you an individual who wants to add 10 brand new product lines to your business overnight? Is that going to be something that you're going to be able to purchase for successfully? Are you going to be able to market those products successfully? How do you price those things? How do you know when those products should be sold or when you should be putting them on sale? What is the revenue that you're generating off this? It's really hard to know. So when we do things incrementally and we add on and build slowly, that's when things work really well. Now, let's go to the actual question that you asked, which is, I bought 15 new tools. How do I integrate them? The direct answer is one by one. Pick the solutions that are the most important to you. Which ones are key to your operations? Get those tools working smoothly, well, so that they are nice and greased and everything is working smoothly inside of your business. Then tag on another one. When you get that additional one on, tag another one on. Then start to slowly build them out. Be prepared to pivot. A lot of these solutions are not just a one-way street. There's a lot of different configurations, a lot of different models to them. So it's very important that you are open-minded about what you may or may not be able to do with some of those tools. So as you consider your direction forward, be prepared to pivot. Add on slowly and surely, and you'll see them all start to come together. You may also need additional tools that you don't have in your 15 tools that you've already purchased, because not every single tool talks to each other. So be aware that there are tools on the market that will help solutions speak with each other. Just know that you're starting to creep into needing some more technical assistance that isn't as easy as plug and play into what you do in your business every day.
And I asked that question for the reason that sometimes a small business owner can be inundated with information, whether they've attended different trainings. They're like, oh, I need to get this tool, I need to get this tool, I need to do this to make my operations better, or I need to do this to like get my marketing up to speed. But as you mentioned, it's not a tool is not going to fix every problem that you have within your business overnight. It truly is that, like you mentioned, it's a tool.
There's no silver bullets. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time. Like I went to college, forever ago, and I'm starting to get up there, and I have yet to find something that is that true silver bullet that handles everything. There never will be, because again, a tool is a tool. It serves a specific purpose. The only all-purpose tool that I know of is humans. We're the only ones that can sort of do it all. It's more about picking out those things that make the most difference for your business. I want to be customer facing with the people that I work with. I don't want to sit in a back room and do financial reports. So I pick for my business robust tools that have large scale financial reporting behind it so that I don't have to worry about those things. Same thing with my business development pipeline, trying to get those sort of set in line so that they work very smoothly so that I can spend time with my wife and my children at the end of the day. And I don't have to worry about having to deal with what would typically be referred to as backroom type of tasks that need to be completed. So be mindful of what those tools do for you so that you know where it's applying to your business and where you as a business owner or an employee in a small business are really getting the biggest bang for your buck.
So we've now talked about different tools. Business owner, let's talk about a business owner who they kind of have their tools arranged. They have slowly implemented them, added them into their business. Now comes the training and support for their team. Let's go down that line.
Yes. So we talk about change management. So the idea of we have a tool, we have change coming into our organization. Either new people are entering, and so I need to get them up to speed, or I have a new tool that's entering, and I need to get the people in my organization up to speed on this new tool for whatever it is. And so largely it's referred to as change management. So let's talk about the first one, which is I have a new person coming in and training. Well, a couple of different ways to be able to approach that. A lot of these organizations, these tool providers, actually have training sessions that go with their solutions. So you have the ability to go out either to their website or to YouTube or wherever, and you can find produced videos and other instructional materials that can be used by those business owners to get those employees on board relatively quickly. Now, remember, most software is configured and customized in some form or fashion. So as a business owner, you are going to have to sit with that person at some point in time. Now, if you're lucky to have multiple people, you may also have the opportunity to take another employee and say, hey, you're one of my top performers. I need you to sit with this new person and really kind of walk them through the ins and outs of how this may work. But leverage a lot of what the collateral is that is out there already, that these solution providers already give to us as consumers of their tools. The other side of it, which may be inputting a new tool into your existing operation, your existing business, you need to start thinking about what does that tool do, not only to my organization, but to my customers. And so very often, what I see is business owners who go, my organization, I know what it's going to do to my business, but I'm not necessarily taking the time to think through what does this change do to my customers? So as a business owner, you think about it. Okay, this is the goal and objective. I know that this is what I need it to do. I know that I'm going to make this software change. I'm going to implement it during my slow season, which is, and I'm just going to make this up. It's June of the year, so it's summer. It's summertime. People are not really doing a whole bunch of business with me, so June it is, and then I'm going to do it in off hours so that there's nobody coming into my business to actually transact at that time. So perfect. I've got it all worked out. Everything is good. We're ready to go. But what is your customer thinking? Think about your local business, dry cleaner, coffee shop, places of that nature. How many times have we seen the cash register that used to sit on the counter? all of a sudden is now a square or a stripe terminal where they're touch screening and they flip it around and here you are, right? And as business owners, sometimes we don't think about that we may have customers that don't necessarily know how to interact with that. So how are we slowing down our processes and making sure that we, A, are letting our customers know that there is a change coming, and then B, how are we prepared to help people, our customers specifically, who may have trouble dealing with those solutions that we put in place? And not to pick on anyone by any stretch. There was a gentleman in my local dry cleaner the other day who was struggling with the touchscreen for the checkout process using, and for this case, it was a Square terminal. And nothing against Square, we use them all the time, but just this individual was having a tough time understanding how those things work, and that was okay. But having someone who's able to help that individual go through that process. Imagine what you do for your clients when you have one of your employees or you as a business owner who's willing to come to the other side of that counter and stand next to someone and go, it's okay, let me help you with this process. And so now you're prepared for that. So making sure that you are evaluating not just what is good for you as a business owner as you put a tool in, but also what's good for your clientele is almost, if not more important than what it is for you.
And what you just mentioned goes beyond just training your team or providing support. It has to do with your culture.
It does.
What kind of culture are you building within your team to empower your employees to make those decisions on the spot and help a customer when they see them?
Think about the circumstances that you've been in when you go into retail, a professional service, whatever place that is. Think about the experiences that you have. We all remember the really bad experiences, and we all remember the really good experiences. Don't you want to be that really good experience for your customers? I mean, really, isn't that what we're all striving for? Now, let's be fair. We're not all going to have those. It's not every day is not going to be rainbows and unicorns, but we do know, I know, right? But we do know that people remember those positive engagements that they have, especially with those small businesses. And so many of those small businesses think about the knock-on effect of, oh, I have a Google business page, or I have a Yelp page, or I have a Facebook page for my business, and somebody's out there, typing in a review that says, hey, this really was a difficult experience with this place because of X, Y, or Z type of engagement that I had with that business. It's not what we need as small business owners. We need to be doing our very best. And of course, we're always going to have those people that have a problem, but we need to be doing our very best to try to give whatever we can.
So let's talk about why it could be a detriment to your business to only have one person on your team trained on a tool or a service. What kind of harm can that do? Let's say I am out of the country and I'm the only person who knows how to do said tool, and we have a business owner that needs help with doing that.
I think you hit the nail right on the head already.
Yeah.
So many times out in corporate America, you hear the hit by the bus rule or the beer truck rule, right? Whoever understands it gets hit by the beer truck, or they win the lottery and they're gone tomorrow, right? It's exactly that. It's that knowledge of how that tool operates, how it integrates the information that goes through it, how that impacts you as a business owner, how it impacts your customers. And as soon as they walk out the door, all that knowledge goes out the door too. So cross-training is usually the term that we hear, cross-training people on different portions of the tools that are inside of your business, different elements of the jobs that they work, not just even from technology, but also from the business and the operations that they do. Cross-training people so that they understand how things work. It is a stopgap or a risk management aspect of how you implement these solutions and keep them moving. Because Lord knows, if I'm winning, the Powerball happens for me.
Don't call you.
Adios.
And what I'll add to that, what we do here at BBB that I think is an additional, avenue. I think cross-training is great, but for every process and procedure that we have here internally, we have a standard operating procedure for said, whatever it is. Even with tools and different things that we utilize, I'm not going to tell somebody for an example, I'm not going to tell somebody how to, be creative or do a graphic design or show them how to train through Adobe because, like you mentioned, you can find all of that information online.
Sure.
But what I can do is say, here's the steps and processes I go through to make sure that there's checks, that information is correct as it's going up online. Here's all the things that I do to make sure afterward, like postings up, and here's all the taggings and different things that we do internally. And I'm not just talking marketing, I'm talking operations, finances.
Sure.
If I had to go do something in operations today, I might not be the expert as the person who's sitting in that seat, but with the standard operating procedures we have in place, I can follow it and figure it out.
You'd be shocked how many businesses don't have written down procedures. And I understand that they can be time consuming to put together, but it's two pieces. One is what you've already talked about, which is the idea of, hey, if somebody isn't here, I can still run this aspect of my business. But part two is also, well, now let's bring this all the way back to the beginning of our conversation. It also helps you understand how your business operates, and it helps you understand potential pain points. The standard operating procedure is a fantastic document to have for a variety of different reasons. So make sure that if you do have either business partners or you have employees who are responsible for different aspects of your business, please, if you know someone who knows how to write a really good standard operating procedure, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, it is tantamount to keeping your business up and moving if for some reason something happens. We always see this, especially with small businesses. Family comes first. And sometimes we have to duck away from what we do. And we rely on the people that we work with to help keep that business moving forward. Do them a favor. Take an hour or two. Turn the ball game on. You're out at soccer practice for your kids. Sit there with a laptop if you have one, or a piece of paper and a pen, and just write out the things, even if it's just what you do on a daily basis and the steps that go with them, even if they're high level. Those things really have a benefit because now you're thinking about, well, what happens if the disaster happens, but also how does my business work?
And you might find, and I think a lot of people can relate to this when you're writing a standard operating procedure, that you've gotten so into the routine of doing it, it's really not that difficult to put it together because you've already got it in your mind how that process works. But then you might also find like, oh, for the past 3 times I've done this, I haven't done this one crucial step that it left my mind and I was just, on a roll and here's all the things. But now you've got it in your operating procedure. And if you look back at that, albeit like at least on a quarterly basis, and make sure it's up to date, to make sure that any changes that you have in that procedure, it can really be helpful.
Imagine the times that when you don't do those, I missed step 6 of 8, right? While you're doing it, it doesn't really make a big difference in that moment. But then go back to, hey, let's say it was a social media post or it was an advertisement. How much business did I lose off of that? How much visibility did I not receive because I forgot that particular step? You never know who is where and when they may see you. So it's important to follow those steps regularly. Really, from a measurement perspective, again, if we hit that operations perspective, it really is necessary for us to make sure that when we do things, we do them as close to the same as possible so that we understand what is and isn't working for our businesses.
So it's a great opportunity to lean down a procedure too.
Absolutely.
Because you might be doing 20 steps when we can get it done in 10, and those extra 10 steps really aren't needed for whatever reason.
And think about the things that you could be doing with the time.
Otherwise.
With that extra 10 steps. Yeah. And it's amazing. And again, one of the things that my organization works on is process improvement. Part of operations, but process improvement. If I hear one more person say to me, well, this is the way we've always done it. Okay, I appreciate that. However, doesn't mean that we always got to do it that way.
Well, since 2020, I'm just going to say it. I'm going to lay it out. Nobody should be saying this is the way we've always done it because nothing is the same as it really was before.
Yes.
It's not, nothing is exactly the same. There are so many changes that came out of that. And I think that there were so many opportunities even for BBB, for us to learn and grow and figure out how to do things better and differently.
The pivots.
Differently.
Yes. But the pivots that we had as organizations, I've seen 2 patterns. and they're very obvious, but it's two patterns. We've pivoted for COVID, and then we pivoted right back. Or we pivoted, and now we're embracing those changes. And we see that out in the marketplace in the models that we see. Hybrid working, the businesses that are getting leaner in what they do. Now, I grant you that there are positives and negatives to leading those things out. However, there still is a point where we go, well, if I lean out over here on this particular aspect, do I have the ability to get stronger on this other side? Because there's more value in this portion of our operation, or this portion of our sales, or this portion of our technology. And those are the things that, as business owners, especially as we grow and scale, those are the things that we need to be thinking about. Just because dollars don't make sense in your business in portion A today doesn't mean that reinvesting those dollars in portion B doesn't make sense for tomorrow. It doesn't necessarily mean that cutting is always the right thing to do. Sometimes you have to look and pivot to where the marketplace is dictating you should be moving.
And going back to our point on goals, that's an opportunity for you to shift your focus and focus on those goals.
Exactly.
Developing new departments or whatever it is, new programs.
Exactly. Yeah. There's always opportunities that sit there. It's more a question of how quickly do you want to try to reach into those things and pull them forward to today. I will tell organizations on a regular basis that just because there's something that's out there that you can see as a goal doesn't mean you should be trying to pull it into today. Sometimes things are meant to be 6 months, a year, 2 years out, because they give you sort of that northern star, that sort of guiding light to where you're trying to go. It's important to have those things, and sometimes you just have to wait for those things to arrive. So don't, if you've got the secret sauce, don't mess with it. Let it be.
I love that. Yeah. All right, so let's wrap it up in a bow. We've talked all about tools. What would be your kind of 3 takeaways for a small business owner listening to this podcast today, or watching it on YouTube, or listening wherever?
3? You really want this in 3?
3? Let's do 3.
Let's do 3.
Or 5?
Let's
do shorter.
Let's
it's
try
longer?
to hit the 3.
Okay.
Let's try to hit the 3.
Let's 3.
Number 1, understand your operation and your process before you go looking for tools. Always make sure that you understand that opportunity.
Don't buy 15 tools day 1.
Yes. Listen to Casey.
No, that's you. You said that. I queued you up.
I was trying to make it so that you said it, not me. So that's number 1. Know your operation. 2, when you choose to purchase a tool, make sure you are clear with the goals and objectives that you want that tool to be able to accomplish for you. Lastly, make sure that you are always going back and looking, auditing, validating that the solutions that you've chosen are the right ones for your business, and that they continue to align to the goals and objectives you have for your business.
So for anybody listening today who wants to connect with you, wants to see maybe if you are a good fit, what kind of businesses do you typically work with?
I run the gamut, as we had talked about.
Sure.
I have organizations that I work with from the Western Europe all the way out to the West Coast of the United States. Literally everything from a Pilates studio to a bakery to a large scale manufacturing firm to we'll call it a waste management organization. So we run the gamut, and it's a wonderful thing because it gives us an opportunity to learn and understand how so many different types of businesses operate. And it's fun for us. We love what we do because we get to help so many different types of people that are in a variety of different situations. And it's sort of like the Rubik's Cube of business. We get to go in and start to look at how it's laid out, and sort of try to reset it as best as possible for those business owners. So we love what we do. By all means, if you have a question, we're not a nickel and dime firm. We want what's best, not only here for our local community here in Oklahoma City, but obviously across our country. Whatever we can do to help others is where we want to be.
So where's the best place people can connect with you?
Sure. RedStarConsultingLLC.com will be the best place to find us. Or, as always, you can reach out to me personally, Ryan.Halloran at RedStarConsultingLLC.com, or on my phone number 405-625-3559. I would be happy to talk to anyone that would like to speak about this topic.
And for anyone listening today, link down in the show notes. I will have all that information so you don't have to like hurry up and write that down. You can also find Ryan on bbb.org. Longtime BBB accredited business. We met probably in 2019 on the phone. Mm-hmm. This is our first time actually meeting. But
well, COVID had a little...
We had a phone call at some point. I just remember.
Yes.
Yeah, long time ago. So we're so excited that in that time you've stayed accredited and been a great champion for BBB and what great businesses do. So thank you for joining us today.
We're very proud to be a member of the BBB. Yeah. It's one of the things that when we started our business, 5 years ago, that we were very pointed in making sure that we did. I can't tell you how many of our clients go and look at that accreditation as they start to engage us. So we are very appreciative of what you and your organization do for our community here in Oklahoma City and at large. So keep up the great work, and we're super, super thrilled to be here today. Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah. Also, link down below is an awesome checklist that you put together.
Yes.
So do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Just really quickly. So a lot of the points that we talked about today, a little more summarized, that help you sort of go through those phases of trying to make good decisions, audit your systems, and make sure that you're moving in the right direction with those tools and systems that you're looking for. Have a look, use it, print it out, make sure that you refer to on a regular basis. By all means, please feel free to use it. It's one of those things that we hold close to our heart in the work that we do. So please, use it, and we hope that it is of value to your organization.
Yeah, super helpful, and you're getting some awesome tips from seasoned business owners. So appreciate that, Ryan. Thank you for listening today, everyone, to the Build with BBB podcast. You can connect, share, like, all of the things. Make sure to connect with Ryan and BBB at BBB Central OK. We will see you in the next episode. Bye, friends.